When I lost my job, Vanessa laughed and told her friends, "He's not a man anymore. I'll give him a month before I leave his broke ass." I turned to my parents for help, but my dad just snorted and said, "A real man wouldn't beg." My mom only shook her head. I smiled, grabbed my things, and left that day. 6 years later, they showed up at my door, desperate, calling me nonstop. I should have noticed something was off when Vanessa started doing her makeup before work. She never cared much about it before, just mascara and lip gloss most days, but about 3 weeks ago, she began getting up earlier and spending nearly an hour in the bathroom. When I asked her about it, she claimed she was just trying to look more professional. That morning started like any other. I was scrolling through Instagram while waiting for my coffee to brew when my phone buzzed. It was a text from HR asking me to come in early for a meeting. No details, just that they needed to speak urgently. My stomach dropped, but I tried to tell myself it was probably about that promotion I'd been pushing for. I kissed Vanessa goodbye, but she barely looked up from her phone. She mumbled, "See you later," without meeting my eyes. Once again, I ignored the warning signs. The HR lady's expression told me everything before she even spoke. 2 other managers were there, including my direct supervisor, Mason, all wearing those practiced, sympathetic faces. Then came the words that turned my world upside down. Inappropriate behavior, multiple complaints, creating a hostile environment. I sat there, stunned, as they laid it all out. Apparently, several female coworkers had reported me for making suggestive comments and unwanted advances. It was absolute nonsense. I barely spoke to anyone at work besides my immediate team, but they had detailed reports, dates, and specific incidents. Completely fabricated, but convincing enough on paper. "We have to terminate your employment immediately," the HR lady said, sliding a severance package across the table. Mason wouldn't even make eye contact with me. I tried to defend myself, but they had already made their decision. Security was there to escort me out. As I packed up my desk, my hands shaking, pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. The whispered conversations that stopped when I walked by, the way some coworkers had started avoiding me, Vanessa's sudden obsession with looking good. It all hit me at once. How long had this been going on? I tried calling Vanessa on my drive home, but it went straight to voicemail. I checked her joint account on my phone. Empty. All $43,000 we'd saved gone. The transfer had been made the day before to an account I didn't recognize. She was home when I got there, calmly packing a suitcase. "Took you long enough," she said, not even pretending to be surprised. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded. "Did you have something to do with this?" She laughed, actually laughed. "You really are slow, aren't you? I've been planning this for months. Everyone at your office thinks you're a creep now. Good luck finding another job in this town." "Why?" I asked, my voice cracking. "Why would you do this to me?" "Because you're pathetic," she spat. "Working the same dead-end job for 5 years. No ambition, no spine. You're not a man anymore." "Mason, though." Her smile turned cruel. "He's going places, and I'm going with him." The room spun. "Mason? My supervisor, Mason?" "For 6 months now," she said, zipping up her suitcase. "He knows how to take what he wants, unlike you." I sank onto the couch, trying to process the magnitude of the betrayal. Not only had she been cheating with my boss, but she had systematically destroyed my reputation and career. "Don't bother calling your parents," she added, heading for the door. "I already told them everything about your inappropriate behavior. They're disgusted with you. Check the account. They've already pulled their investment in our house renovation." She was right. When I called my parents in desperation, my dad answered with, "We raised you better than this." I could hear my mom crying in the background. They wouldn't even let me explain. They just said they needed time to process the disappointment I'd become. That night, I slept in my car, parked in a Walmart lot. The house was in Vanessa's name, another thing she'd insisted on that I had stupidly agreed to. No money, no job, no home, no family. She had taken everything. But as I lay there, watching trucks rumble past in the darkness, something inside hardened. The hurt and shock crystallized into pure, cold rage. Vanessa thought she had broken me, turned me into nothing. She had taken everything I had, but there was one thing she'd forgotten. She had left me with nothing left to lose. I opened my notes app and started planning. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. Vanessa, Mason, my parents. They all thought I was weak, pathetic, spineless. I was going to show them just how wrong they were. They wanted me to be the villain in their story. Fine. I'd give them a villain they'd never forget. Update 1. I never thought I'd be the guy sleeping in his car behind a 24-hour gym, but here I was after 3 nights of this hell. My old friend Gavin finally found out what was going on through mutual friends. His message was simple. Get your ass over here. The guest room's yours as long as you need it. Walking into his place that night, the reality of everything hit me. My clothes stuffed into 2 duffel bags, a laptop, and a few basic toiletries. That's what my life had come down to. Gavin didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and said, "When you're ready to talk, I'm here." It took me a week to spill everything. Vanessa's betrayal, the affair with Mason, the emptied accounts, my parents turning their backs on me. Gavin listened, got angry on my behalf, but then he said something that stuck with me. "You're not broken. You're just starting over. And this time, you're doing it smarter." I picked up 2 jobs, backbreaking work during the day and bartending at night. Each shift felt like a step away from rock bottom. The physical exhaustion kept my anger at bay most days. Then came the day I overheard some regulars talking about a new business opening downtown. I nearly dropped the glass I was wiping when I heard Vanessa's name. My hands were shaking as I pulled up Facebook on my break. There it was, her smiling face next to Mason, announcing their engagement and her new business venture. The comment section was full of congratulations, even one from my own mother, gushing about how proud she was of her future daughter-in-law. I called my sister that night. She'd been the only one still talking to me, though she kept it quiet to avoid our parents' disapproval. What she told me made my blood run cold. Mom and Dad had invested their entire retirement savings into Vanessa's business. All of it, $175,000. The next morning, I started digging, not because I had to. These were my parents. Even if they had turned their backs on me, the pieces started to fall into place. Vanessa had been planning this for months. The rumors at work, the affair with Mason, the emptying of our accounts, it was all calculated. She needed startup capital, and my parents' retirement fund was her target. Some nights, I'd lie awake in Gavin's guest room, my mind racing. The old me would have confronted her directly, maybe made a scene. But something had changed in me during those nights in my car. I'd learned patience. Every time I wanted to explode, I'd remember how she laughed when I confronted her about the affair. "You're not a man anymore," she'd said. Those words became my fuel. I started keeping a journal of everything I discovered. Dates, times, bank transfers, screenshots of messages. Anything that showed the pattern. People love to talk to bartenders. And I heard things like how Mason had pulled this stunt before at his last job. How Vanessa was already talking about expanding the business before it even opened, using my parents' money as proof of success to other investors. The breaking point came when I saw my dad at the grocery store. He looked 10 years older, shoulders slumped, checking prices on everything. He didn't see me, but I saw him put back a package of his favorite cookies, choosing the store brand instead. My mother used to buy those for him every week. That night, I threw up in Gavin's bathroom, rage and guilt mixing in my gut. Then the local paper came out with an announcement. Local entrepreneur opens dream business. There was Vanessa, standing in front of her new shop, talking about building something from nothing and the support of her wonderful future in-laws. The photo showed my parents at the opening, trying to smile, but looking worried around the edges. I folded that newspaper carefully and added it to my journal. Not because I needed more evidence. I had plenty, but because sometimes you need to hit rock bottom to realize you're not falling anymore. You're getting ready to push back up. Looking at that article, something clicked. Vanessa thought she'd won because she'd taken everything, but she'd forgotten the most important thing she'd given me. Freedom. I had nothing left to lose, and that made me dangerous, not in a violent way. I was done letting her make me out to be the bad guy. No, I was going to do this smart, legal, and most importantly, I was going to make sure everyone saw exactly who she was. I closed my journal and opened my laptop. Time to start sharing some stories of my own. Update 2. It started with a WhatsApp message, just one screenshot, sent anonymously to Kelly, Mason's wife, a single conversation between Vanessa and Mason, discussing their weekend plans while I was supposedly at my friend's place. Seeing that message marked as read felt like lighting a fuse. Working at Danny's bar gave me exactly what I needed. Gossip spreads fast in a small town, especially when alcohol's involved. I didn't even have to try hard, just a casual mention here and there about how my ex-wife was now with my old supervisor. People filled in the blanks themselves, especially the regulars who had seen me working double shifts to make ends meet after losing everything. "Did you hear about that new boutique opening up on Mason Street?" One of the regulars asked, nursing his beer. "The owner's that woman who stole her husband's savings and ran off with his boss." The story spread like wildfire through neighborhood Facebook groups and local forums. Every time Vanessa posted about her business on social media, The comment section filled with thinly veiled references to her affair. Kelly showed up at Danny's one night, mascara streaked down her face. Is it true? She demanded, slamming her phone down on the bar. More screenshots, more evidence. All those late meetings and business trips suddenly made sense to her. I just poured her a drink and listened. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. Mason's perfect life unraveled within weeks. His kids stopped talking to him. His church group quietly asked him to step down from his leadership role. The mortgage on their new house suddenly felt a lot heavier on a single income. I was restocking the bar when Vanessa first tried calling. Then came the texts. You've ruined everything. Why are you doing this to me? Mason left me because of you. Your parents are going to lose everything. That last one was supposed to sting, I guess, but watching her so-called foolproof business plan crash and burn felt like justice. The same parents who told me to man up when I lost everything were now facing foreclosure. Funny how karma works. Vanessa's boutique's grand opening was a disaster. Word had spread about her reputation. And in a small town, reputation is everything. Local vendors pulled out at the last minute. The few customers who showed up were mostly there to whisper and stare. The local newsletter, which had planned a feature on the store, quietly dropped it. One night, Mason came into the bar, drunk and seething. You planned this, he slurred, pointing a shaky finger at me. You destroyed my family. The irony was almost funny. Almost, I just called him a ride and went back to wiping down glasses. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from my parents. Their retirement savings were gone. The house they'd lived in for 30 years was slipping away. They want to talk things through. Fix things, find a solution as a family. Delete, delete, delete. Vanessa's boutique limped along for another month before the going out of business signs went up. She tried rebranding, dropping prices, everything, but in a small town, once people turn against you, it's game over. The last time I saw her that month, she was standing outside the empty shop, staring through the window at the bare mannequin. The sight didn't give me the satisfaction I thought it would. Instead, I felt nothing, and somehow, that felt better than revenge. My parents left another voicemail. Please, son, we were wrong. We need your help. I saved that one. Not because I plan to help, but because sometimes it's nice to have a reminder of how far you've come. By the end of the week, Vanessa's boutique was boarded up. Her dream of becoming a successful businesswoman ended with a whimper, not a bang. No dramatic showdown. No big confrontation. Just the quiet death of reputation and trust. My regulars at the bar still sometimes bring up the story. It's become a local legend, a cautionary tale about karma and consequences, but I don't engage anymore. I got better things to focus on. The last text I got from Vanessa read, I know you're behind all this, but you can't prove it, can you? You calculated everything perfectly. I didn't respond. Sometimes silence is the best revenge. Besides, I was too busy checking out properties at the upcoming foreclosure auction. I heard there might be some interesting opportunities. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But I've learned it's best served by just stepping back and letting people face the consequences of their own actions. The domino effect takes care of the rest. As I locked up the bar that night, I deleted the last traces of their messages from my phone. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities, new beginnings, and for some, new consequences. Some people call it revenge. I call it karma. Either way, I sleep just fine at night. Finally, an update. After 2 years of patient waiting, everything finally started falling into place. I hadn't planned it this way, but sometimes karma works in beautiful ways. I was scrolling through Facebook when I saw Vanessa's urgent business announcement post. Her little boutique was closing. Permanently. Not just closing, but being seized by creditors. All that talk about her entrepreneurial vision and redefining local retail had amounted to exactly what I'd expected. A spectacular failure. The comments section was brutal. Maybe if you'd focus more on running your business instead of sleeping with married men. Someone even tagged Mason's ex-wife, who added a laughing emoji. I won't lie, I screenshotted that entire thread. My phone buzzed, Mom's third call today. I let it go to voicemail, just like the previous 12 this week. The messages were the same every time. They were about to lose the house. They needed help. They were sorry. That part was new, I'll give them that. Funny how sorry only came after the foreclosure notice. You're not a real man. Dad had said when I'd asked them for help 2 years ago, sleeping in my car after Vanessa cleaned out our accounts. Now, they wanted their son back. The irony wasn't lost on me. The auction was yesterday. I didn't tell anyone I was going. I just showed up in my regular clothes, hands in my pockets, looking like any other curious neighbor. Mom and Dad were there too, huddled in the back, looking smaller than I remembered. They didn't see me until I won the bid. The look on their faces when I raised my bidding card for the final time. That moment alone was worth every penny of the down payment. Dad's face turned an interesting shade of purple. Mom started crying. I just stood there, filling out the paperwork, not even glancing their way. They cornered me in the parking lot afterward. Dad tried to puff out his chest like he used to. Son, we can work something out. A real man wouldn't beg, right? I cut him off, echoing his words from 2 years ago. That's what you told me. Or does that rule only apply when I'm the one asking for help? Mom grabbed my arm, mascara running down her cheeks. Please, Carter, we're your parents. We're my parents. I corrected her. The eviction notice goes out tomorrow. You have 30 days. Dad exploded. After everything we've done for you, like investing my college fund in Vanessa's business behind my back. I stayed calm, which only made him angrier. Or like telling everyone in the family I was lying about her affair. They kept talking, but I just walked away. Their voices faded behind me, joining all the other noise I'd learned to tune out. The next week, I rented their house to a young family with 3 kids. Good people struggling to find something affordable in this market. I gave them a rate well below market value, just to twist the knife a little deeper. Mom saw them moving in. She drove by 6 times that day. I know because the security cameras I installed caught every pass, but the real cherry on top? I found out Vanessa's working at O'Malley's now. The same bar where I used to attend when I was rebuilding my life. She started last week, desperately needing the job after her business went under. The universe has a sense of humor sometimes. I took my girlfriend there last night, didn't plan it. Honestly, Emily wanted to try their new menu. And who was I to say no? Vanessa was our waitress. The look on her face when she recognized me? Priceless. She tried to get another server to take our table, but they were short-staffed. What can I get you? Her voice was barely above a whisper. I didn't even look up from a menu. I just ordered my food like she was any other server, any other stranger. Emily, bless her heart, had no idea who Vanessa was. I never talk about that chapter of my life anymore. We enjoyed our dinner, laughed, shared dessert, left a decent tip. Because hey, I'm not a monster. As we were leaving, I heard Vanessa's manager scolding her about a messed up order. She was on thin ice, apparently. I walked past without a glance, holding Emily's hand, feeling the weight of my house keys in my pocket. Keys to the home where my parents had lived for 30 years. Some people say revenge doesn't bring peace. Maybe they're right, but watching Vanessa scramble to carry plates while wearing the same cheap polyester uniform I once wore, seeing my parents' belongings piled up in their sister's garage. Peace was never the goal. The young family in my parents' old house sent me pictures yesterday. They're painting the kitchen yellow, planting a garden where Mom's prized roses used to be. Life moves on. Sometimes it moves exactly where you want it to. Tomorrow, Emily's taking me to meet her parents. They're good people from what I can tell, but this time I know better than to trust family just because they're family. This time, I keep my own accounts, my own spaces, my own escape routes, and if anyone ever tells me I'm not a real man again, well, let's just say I've learned how to prove them wrong.